Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about something that has been just so commonly searched and talked about, and that is your favorite interview questions. There's so many people looking for jobs right now, and it's like there's shortages, but there's so many people hiring, but you can't get a job. Just seems like a weird time in the economy to be searching for work. So I feel like so many people are asking, why can't they get a job? Is it is it your resume? Is it you're not great at interviews? So the best thing you can do is just keep trying and keep learning. As someone that has done many interviews myself, but also conducted them, I can let you know what personally I thought was great in the people that I interviewed and what was kind of like a no. So the first thing I would recommend is that you actually prepare. The thing about it is most people don't prepare for an interview, and it really tells. It really shows once they come in and you ask them a question. They're like, yeah. You have to prepare. That's kind of the whole point. So the first thing that you're gonna do is when you get contacted for an interview is you're actually going to do a lot of research about the company, because that way you can tie it into your responses. If you don't know anything about the company, how are you going to answer some questions? Then I would start practicing about what kind of questions you can be asked, and actually practice your answers out loud, because if you practice it in your head but then you sit down to say it to someone, where you never really practice, it might not come out the way you'd hope it to. So really focus on practicing. Write it down if you have to. And not like a script, because you don't want to be like a robot reading off a script. You want it to be organic, but you want to know what to say and what kind of experience and stuff you're going to pull from in your responses. The question that everyone gets stumped on, but I did do a video about this, so you can check this out after, and that is tell me a bit about yourself. So I recommend that you go reference back to that video after this one, because you have to nail that down. Do you know how awful it is when you ask someone, tell me a bit about yourself? So I grew up, I have 2 dogs. Yeah. That's not what they're asking. So that is probably number one, because I can almost guarantee you're going to be asked that. And if you don't know the answer to it, well, there goes your first impression, right? And let's talk about some other questions that you should really be able to answer. And that is one that everyone loves. What is your greatest weakness? So when you get asked, what is your greatest weakness? They want to know your ability to see your flaws, but you got to be careful in answering it, because you don't want your weakness to be one of the main duties of the job. And you also don't want to say that you're a perfectionist, because that makes it seem like you're unaware, you're not self-aware of the things that you need to work on. So let's think of an example. Okay, if you applied for a job that's all about being really attention to detail, and you told them that your greatest weakness is you struggle to be attention to detail, you're definitely not going to get the job. So you want it to be something relevant, but not a main duty in the job. So let's think of an example. Let's say that you were applying for a job that, I'm trying to think, doesn't require much technology, maybe it's more physical kind of work, and maybe you said that your weakness is you're not really up on all things like technology and softwares. But if that's not a main duty of your job, they're able to tell that you can self-reflect and know what you need to work on, but it won't interfere with your job. If you said that your greatest weakness is time management, I really don't think you're going to get that job either. And then on the reverse side, they can ask you your greatest strength. And this is a great time to share what you're really good at. Are you really good at customer service, marketing, all the things? So just think about what you're really good at, what's some great strengths about you, so that you can share it. Make sure you practice these questions, or you're gonna sit there in the interview and that's not gonna look great on you either. Another question that people always get stumped on is past experience situation type of questions. So that would be tell me about a time when blank. Tell me about a time when you were at work and there was a conflict that you had to resolve, and how did you resolve it? So the reason why you want to prepare for an interview is so that you can sit down and you can brainstorm of all the crazy things that happened to you when you worked at your previous job. Because I'm sure you've dealt with conflict. I'm sure maybe you dealt with some conflict between a coworker, a customer. I'm sure you made a mistake. How did you go about fixing it? So sit down, brainstorm, write some ideas down, so that when they ask these situation type of questions, it's in your mind so that you can go on it. Because you might prep all the questions and they might ask you something that you didn't prepare for, but if you gathered up some information in your brain, at least you feel like you have something to pull from. Another question that they commonly ask is, why do you want to work for this company? Now, you might literally just be there because you need a paycheck and you need to pay the bills. But if you say that, I don't think you're going to get the job. So that's when you really need to do your background on the company. Like I said, do a lot of research. Check out their website, social media, Indeed, everything that you can find, and read about it, especially their mission and value statements, because a great answer to that question would be, I really like your mission of helping small business owners, and I'm really passionate about that. That way that they know that you did research on their company and you know what their company stands for, which shows a lot of initiative that you took the time to do that. So do that kind of prep work so that you can answer that kind of questions. At the end of an interview, they're usually going to ask, do you have any questions for me? And you better have some questions prepared, something relevant, of course. But if you're feeling brave, maybe ask something like, based on what we discussed today, is there anything about me that would prevent you from moving me forward in the hiring process? What this does is this gives you a chance to know if there's anything about you that they have doubts about. That gives you a chance to debunk it, talk about it, and before you know, they might never talk to you again. So at least you know. I feel like that's a great question and it shows you really care. You can also ask them, what does a high performer look like in the role, or what do they expect for this person in the position to achieve within the first 6 months? This really shows that you care about the work and that you care about giving quality work to the company. I would definitely ask some more questions that really show you care about the work and the value you're going to provide to the company before your first question being, let's talk salary. At least build a little foundation and show that you really care about the health of the company. To give you a little recap, do a lot of research about the company, get all the information you can, prep all your questions, practice them out loud, in the mirror, in the car, wherever, and then be ready, be confident, and don't show up feeling desperate, because I feel like people can always sense that kind of energy. It kind of is, if it's meant to be, it is, if it isn't, it isn't, but come prepared so you don't walk out feeling like, crap, I could have did so much better, but I wasn't ready. I hope this helps you, and if you have any other video ideas for me, please comment below. Make sure to like and subscribe. I hope you all have the best day. See you next time.